Has your child ever looked at you with the energy of someone who has just witnessed their own social funeral because you said the word deodorant out loud?
Yep. I've been there. My son once acted like I suggested we go on a national television together on the Jerry Springer show. I simply
Hmm.
asked if he used soap. That's it, soap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just so. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, just soap, Curtis. The basics and the look on his face. I mean, you would have thought um, I no longer have, or you would have thought I would have asked him to, like recite poetry or something in front of his entire school. Right? It was the look of embarrassment was just
Hmm.
unbearable.
Pretty funny. All right, guys, welcome back to the Parent Sports Circle podcast. I'm your host, Curtis, and with my good friend RJ, dad, co host, and certified survivor of raising kids through puberty years. RJ, how are you doing today?
For Curtis. Yeah, my kids are grown, right? They do shower voluntarily, and I no longer have to remind them to use deodorant. Thankfully, life is genuinely good on this side.
Yeah, it's about goals, right? Absolute goals. So today
Yeah.
we're diving into something that a lot of parents message us about. I mean, a lot. And that's how to handle it when your tween or teen is embarrassed by puberty, which I'm currently going through. Um, the body changes, the body odor is a whole messy, beautiful, awkward package. We've got stories, we've got practical tips, and RJ has lived that experience that, and he's gonna give us some genuine um, reassurances of how we get through this, especially for new parents.
hmm Yeah, and a few things I wish someone had told me, right? Including that deodorant incident.
Yep. We'll get into the deodorant incident shortly. Stay tuned, everyone. So let's start at the beginning, RJ, because I think a lot of parents, especially parents of younger tweens, see their kid shut down or get upset, then they generally don't know if something's wrong. Like it's a big deal. Is my kid okay, or is it just Tuesday?
Yeah, and more often than not, it's just Tuesday, right? Look, I've got two kids, right? A son and a daughter. Both of them went through that phase where their body started changing and they acted like it was a
Hmm.
personal betrayal, right? Like their body had gone rogue without asking their permission.
Well, which honestly is kind of what's happening, right?
Right, it literally is. And when you're 11 or 12, you don't have the emotional vocabulary to process that, right? You feel just different. You feel visible in a way you weren't before, and your brain is running this constant loop of is everyone staring at me? And the answer your brain keeps giving you is yes, always yes.
Yep, that's right. Psychologists actually have a name for that. An imaginary audience that feeling that every single person in the room is watching you and judging you at all times.
And we all have that, not just teens, right? The brutal part is though at that age, some people are watching, right? Kids can be mean, and that's the reality of it.
Yep. So what did you first notice with your own kids? Like what were the signs that something was going on?
With my son, it was the sports bag, right? He'd come home from game practice and just leave the bag by the door, sealed, like it was a biological hazard or something, right?
Yeah, that
Which, to
makes it
be
worse.
fair, it certainly felt or smelled like it was. But he was also avoiding showers at school because he didn't want anybody to see his body changing, right?
Yeah, that's pretty common. I know when I was in high school, I was kind of embarrassed to go shower with other people.
Absolutely. So we can all understand that pain, right? But with my
Yep.
daughter, it was the exact opposite, right? She started showering 3 times a day, using half a bottle of
Oh my
body
God.
spray before school. And I thought, okay, something's going on here, right? She's either discovered hygiene is a very intensive way, or she's embarrassed about something.
Yep. And it was the second one, right?
Right. She had a comment made at school. Nothing terrible, just one of those offhand things that kids say to each other, right? That
Hmm.
lands like a great grenade. And she was mortified, absolute mortified.
Wow, that's crazy. And how did you handle that, RJ?
Look, I told you I didn't always do it right. I handled it
Yep.
badly at first, right? My instinct was to march into the school and have words. But my wife wisely suggested I sit down, close my mouth, and just listen to my daughter first.
Pretty wise woman then, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely the smarter person in our marriage, right? So I sat with her and I just talked to her. or just
Good.
let her talk, right? And then I
Yep.
told her something happened to me at her age, something embarrassing, and I watched her whole face change.
Yeah. So suddenly she doesn't feel alone anymore, right? Because it's relatable.
Exactly. Yeah, she went from I'm the most embarrassed person alive to, oh wait, even my dad had awkward moments, and
Hmm.
somehow that helped more than anything else I could have ever said.
Okay. Let's talk tactics because I know parents listening right now are thinking, okay, great. I need to talk to this about my kid, but how? Because every time I try, they either roll their eyes or they leave the room.
Right. And here's the thing: if you sit your kid down formally, like we need to have a talk, they're already gone, right? Mentally, they're
Yep.
in another country.
Yeah, I think we all dread that we need to talk comment, right?
Yeah,
No
those
matter
four
what age you're
words,
at. Yeah.
right? Those four words make any age human want to fake their own death, right? But no, you want side by side moments, driving somewhere, making food, watching a show, something you're not face to face, because
Hmm.
face to face feels like an interrogation.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice there, RJ. I like it. That's exactly the research behind that. Adolescents open up more in a side by side situation because there's less direct social pressure.
Yeah. So I don't know the research. I just figured it out by getting it wrong a few times first, right?
Yeah. Trial and error parenting, the only kind.
hmm Definitely the only kind that really works. So my approach eventually became drop it in casually. Like, hey, now that you're getting bigger, might be time to grab some deodorant, right? Totally normal. Everyone uses it. That's it.
Yep.
No big moment, no dramatic pause, just a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, for our daughter, her choose her own. We go to the store, say, "What do you like? Will make you smell good." She's like, "Oh, I'll pick
hmm
this one." Then she has more of a tendency to wear it. I found until it
Yep.
runs out. Then she didn't tell us, and it's like, "Oh, okay. I guess we need to get you some more." But you know what? It's also the tone you use, right? Because if you're anxious about it, they feel that.
Oh, yeah. They feel everything, right? Kids are like emotional radar systems. If you come in all nervous and serious, they think something's wrong with them, right? But if you're
Hmm.
calm and casual, they pick that up too.
Yep. So basically, channel your most unbothered energy.
Actually, or exactly. I mean, be the chill parent that you always wished you were, or that you always wished your parents
That's
had.
yeah, that's pretty aspirational. Now, what about actually sharing your own stories? Because you mentioned with your daughter, is that a strategy you used a lot by chance?
Yeah, all the time. Look, you don't have to have some big dramatic embarrassing story. Even just, yeah, I had to figure this all out by myself and it felt weird
Hmm.
at first, but honestly, it's just part of growing up, right? You don't have to tell the embarrassing stories. Just let them know that you're on their side, right? You're normalizing it. You're
Right.
saying this is not unique to you. Every human on earth has navigated something like this.
Yep. And guess what? Every human has actually survived it. Is what they also
Yeah,
should
every
know.
single one of us. I always say we are survivors, right? We are
Yep.
here. That means we've been through some stuff, right?
Yep.
So
It's
we've all gone
appropriate.
through
Yep.
it.
Absolutely, RJ. Okay. So let's practice toolkit time because beyond the conversation, there's also just the actual stuff they need to know. Hygiene basics that kids generally might not have figured out yet, or maybe school hasn't mentioned it, perhaps.
Right, because sometimes what looks like an emotional problem is just a practical gap, right? My son
Yep.
generally didn't know that you had to apply deodorant after sport, right? I assumed he knew, he didn't. Nobody told him.
Yep. That's a dad moment for sure.
Completely. I assumed he was absorbing this information from somewhere. He was not. And the result was pungent, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess you would know that personally, right? So, what are some of the basics? A daily shower or wash, especially after sports. Deodorant in the morning and after gym. Clean clothes every day, including fresh socks, uh, underwear, obviously. And then, if you can, let your kid pick their own products, like I mentioned earlier, right?
hmm
Pick their own deodorant
Yep.
or cologne, perhaps. But deodorant is good because it lasts longer than cologne, right?
Yeah. That one made a huge difference. I took my son to the shop and said, pick what you want, right? I've done that too, like you mentioned earlier. And he came back with this wild cedar something that smells like a forest after rain, right? And honestly, but he used it every day without being reminded to because it was his choice.
Yep, ownership. That's such a smart move.
Yeah. Plus, our bathroom smelled amazing for about a year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what we want, right? Now, let's talk about what is probably the hardest version of this scenario, which is when the embarrassment isn't just eternal, when a kid had something, but because of a different animal entirely.
hmm It really is, right? No, now it's just your child processing their own feelings about their body, right?
Yep.
They've had someone else make it a public moment, and that stings in a completely different way.
So, what's your advice for parents in this situation, RJ?
Yeah, look, first, this one I had to learn the hard way, right? Do not skip straight into solving the problem,
Yep.
right? Your first instinct as a parent is trying to fix it, give them tips, make the
Hmm.
plan, explain what to say next time, right? And all of
Yep.
that has its place. But your child doesn't need a strategy in the first 30 seconds. They need to feel heard, right? So let's start listening to our kids first and foremost.
Yep. So, you're going to validate it before you fix.
Yeah, validate, full stop.
Yep.
That's first and foremost. It sounds really awful, right? I would have felt embarrassed too. I'm sorry that happened. Things like that. Just sit there with them in it for a minute. Let them feel that you get what they're trying to say and get their feelings.
Yep. And then you can move on to the practical stuff, right?
And then gently, you can share your own story, which, as we established, I always had one ready. um,
Hmm.
I was not a cool teenager, right? I was very much a trying hard, but not quite landing it teenager, right? So the material was there. That's for sure.
So, all right, on. Any reliable content there, RJ?
Oh, very relatable. Look, but also there's something really powerful about a parent saying, "Look, this happened to me and
Yep.
I got through it." Because kids that age genuinely think they're uniquely cursed, right? But you're living proof that they're not.
Yeah, you survived puberty. Exhibit A.
Yep. I'm still standing, right? No longer smelling like a football bag. There's hope.
Yep. So one thing I'd add here, and this came from a great conversation I had with a pediatrician. If is your is if your child is getting really depressed about this stuff, like avoiding school, withdrawing from friends, showing real signs of anxiety, that's worth a conversation with a doctor because sometimes it's just awkwardness, but sometimes kids need a little extra support.
Yeah, look, and there's no shame in that, right? My
Yep.
daughter saw a school counselor for a few sessions, which made things got or when the things got tough, right? And it made a real difference for her, just having someone outside the family to talk to.
Yep, that's a really important point, RJ. Know when to bring in backup, right? Okay, so let's go with the final point before I wrap this up for today. And this is something I really want people to take away. Puberty is not just a one-time conversation. This isn't a box you tick and move on from.
Oh, absolutely not, right? It unfolds over years, right? Kids to teenage years go
Yep.
from probably 9 years old all the way up to 18, 20 years old, right? 21 sometimes, depending on how fast your kid matures, right?
Yep.
So what they need at 11 is different from what they need at 14 or 18, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. How do you keep the dialogue open over time with your kids, RJ?
Look, some practice, but
Yep.
eventually I learned to keep the door open and my mouth mostly closed, right?
Yep.
I let them
Yep.
set the pace. I didn't force check ins, but I also made sure they knew consistently over time that they could come to me. And I tried to make it low pressure, right? No big reactions when they told me things, just listening. I remember,
Yep.
look, I will even say, you know what? Sometimes you're going to have those bad reactions. I remember when
Yep.
my kid started driving, 17, he was coming around a corner, he crashed the car, right? He
Oh,
broke the
ouch.
tire axle on the car. Big deal, right? And I didn't handle that well. I be completely honest. So those moments are going to be happening in the big
Yep.
moments, hopefully. But for the most part, if you can learn how to channel your reaction so that they're always able to approach you.
Yeah, that's good advice, RJ. Because if you're gonna have one big overreaction, they'll stop telling you things, right?
Right, they stop immediately. When that happened with my son, there was battle between my wife and I. There was battle between my son and I
Mhm.
because we didn't have that open air dialogue anymore. Right, they stop immediately. Um, I remember my son once told me something mildly embarrassing happened at school, and I made the mistake of going, "Oh no." And he just very dramatically, I watched him close like a book. I
Yeah.
never made that mistake again. Well, with the exception of the car.
Right, right. A couple there, yeah. So
But
the
you
oh
learn
no
from these
phase,
mistakes. That's my point.
yep, yep, perfect. Yeah. So the oh no phase didn't make you make the oh no face.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, control your facial expressions, control your
Yep.
emotions to the best of your ability, right? This was parenting advice I was not given, and I wish somebody would have.
Yeah. Well, you learned and now you can talk about it and help other parents, right? So you got to
Mm,
control your face, right?
yeah. Yep.
Good. So moving forward here, but seriously, the thought line here is consistency. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be or have all the answers. You just have to keep showing up. Keep the door open. Keep the tone calm, loving, and remind your kids again and again that there's nothing about what's happening with their bodies that's wrong or shameful.
Hmm. And if you mess up a conversation, look, you can go back. You can say, "Hey, I think I handled that badly, and I want to try talking about this again," right? Kids will respect that more than you think, right? They don't need perfect parents. They just need parents who are present. And we've talked about this show on the show
Mm,
again and again. Your presence means everything to them.
yeah, that's beautiful, RJ.
And look, I've had years to workshop this, right?
Hmm. Good. Okay, so before we go, rapid fire, RJ. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice before your kids hit puberty, what would it be?
Buy good deodorant and buy it early. Don't wait until there's a problem. Just have it in the bathroom. Normalize it before it becomes a thing.
Yeah, it's like their toothbrush in there and toothpaste, right? So proactive parenting, I love it. Best thing you can do, right?
Mhm. So look, and here's another one is the car conversations. Every single time, drop something casual on a drive. You'll be amazed what comes back.
Yep, that's right. Because a lot of times kids are more relaxed in a car and they'll be open up a bit better. So, what was the worst thing you did?
We covered this. It was that oh no face. Sometimes even before we say things, our words are written all over our face.
Yeah, funniest puberty related parenting moment? What do you got?
Oh, look, so my son, bless him, he discovered deodorant, right? Great, excellent. But he had also concluded that more is better. And I
Oh,
was in the
right, right.
bathroom one morning and I genuinely could not see across the room. It like,
Oh my gosh.
a nightclub in there, the entire can, right, Curtis, in one morning.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So he went full nightclub on you, did he?
Full nightclub, 7 in the morning. My eyes were watering. My wife came in, thought there was a gas leak, right?
Oh my God, that's incredible. There's a lesson in there about moderation that I think a lot of us can relate to as well.
You've heard the words, right? Everything in moderation, right? So one
Yep,
or two
that's right.
sprays, not the whole
It's good.
can. Pass it on.
All right, everyone. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And if you're on Facebook, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of today's show. Or if you have any other questions that you want us to cover, I'd be happy to address those in future episodes. If this conversation resonated with you, please share with another parent who might need it because trust me, there's a lot of us out there just trying to get through the deodorant stage.
Mhm. And surviving, right? We are surviving. So,
We absolutely are Survivor, RJ. And a huge thank you. As always, you are a legend, and this show would be a lot less funny without you.
thanks, Curtis. Happy to be here. Look,
Uh,
it's either this or talking to my grown kids about why they don't call enough, right? So, truly,
right.
thank you.
I'm sure there's a different conversation there. If you want more resources, including a full blog post, we base this episode on, plus loads more practical guides, head over to parentsupportcircle.com where you can join our community there, a really wonderful group of parents who share real stories, no judgment, just support.
Yeah, good people, right? I've read some of the posts. Really good people.
Awesome. That's the best. Thanks, RJ. We'll see you next week, guys. And until then, keep the door open, control your face, and maybe check the bathroom after your kids get ready in the morning.
Or you might want to stay back. We'll see. Just be cautious. You right?
Yeah, just take precaution. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
See you next time.